considered like crypto native. So I'm very excited to be able to join you all today. ITKAN, a wonderful organization. And I really want to do a deep dive into crypto, kind of try to demystify some things. There's a lot of buzz around it. So just kind of try to break it down for you in the best way possible.
I look forward to hearing about it. I'm starting to dip my toes into crypto, learn about the different types of crypto.
All righty. Yep. So no, whenever you'd like, I can go ahead and pull up the slides and get us started here.
Sure, feel free.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. All righty. Second.
So this crypto world, Alex, it's like the wild, wild west, huh?
It is. And that's what makes it fun to me, is that it is the Wild West. And so there's still a lot of alpha, right? So once crypto is available on your Chase bank account, stuff like that, then all the fun and upside is going to be kind of ringed out of it. But right now, it is like the Wild West. So we'll go over some do's and some don'ts as well, just to make sure everyone stays as safe as possible, but also has fun. In the crypto world. So let me go ahead and get this up and running here. All right. Oh, my bad. All right. And can everyone see the first slide? It says the world of crypto.
We can.
Yep.
All right. Perfect. Appreciate it. Yeah. So welcome everyone. Again, my name is Alex Razo. I'm excited here to guide you through this session on everything crypto, NFTs, blockchain. So really, just kind of started off at just the basics is, what is cryptocurrency? So really what it is, it's a digital or virtual, money secured through cryptography. And it typically operates on a decentralized network, right? Rather than a single government authority. So just compare like Ethereum or Bitcoin to USD or any other currency around the world, where it's issued and controlled by the government. In the crypto world, it's the whole idea is it is decentralized, so no one entity can really control it. And then why is it so disruptive, right? So why is it making all these waves? Is because really it's borderless, right? So transactions can happen quickly all across the globe without having any intermediary. There are no banks involved, any other third parties. They do not have to be involved. Also lowers fees and speeds up the process of transferring those funds or that information across the blockchain. So when it comes to blockchain technology, it goes far beyond finance, right? So there's all different aspects. There's NFTs. There's, you talk about logistics, identity management. There's like a lot of different ways to utilize the technology. And that's what I want to kind of dive into today. So as far as like the roadmap for today, it's going to be, we'll dive into blockchain, the core technology that really enables crypto. And then we'll explore Bitcoin. A lot of people know about crypto, and really first thing that comes to mind is going to be Bitcoin. It's it's the original, it's the OG of the crypto world, and it's the most well-known cryptocurrency. And then we'll kind of dive into Ethereum, which introduces smart contracts and really opens the door to countless applications. There's so many things you can do with it. A lot of people consider it like a supercomputer, where if you have enough resources, you can pretty much do whatever you'd like to do on Ethereum. And then
and Alex,
yep.
And Alex, so we have bold plans. Our goal is at the end of this year, we want an ITKAN as its own cryptocurrency there. So just want to let you know, that's our goal here. We're going to build small, but that's our goal. We want an ITKAN currency that dominates the industry out there. So
Interesting. You should mention that, because one of the things I wanted to bring up towards the end of this is the work that Steve Luker does. Really great multimedia artwork. He does songs, he does pictures, he does short videos, and how you can turn that into NFTs.
all right,
We'll talk
ITKAN,
about that.
NFTs, and currency. I love it.
Definitely. Yeah. And Tim, I don't think that, we don't even have to wait till the end of the year. If you like, it's so easy to do it now. We can do it, right after the call or even during this call.
I love it. I love it.
Yep. So that's where we'll move into like the meme coins, crypto culture, what really is driving, these insane stories where you hear, someone invests $200 and all of a sudden they're a millionaire a week later. And then NFTs. So that's very exciting. Just kind of going into, how they started, what some exciting projects are, how you can also mint your own NFT, just like Adam did a few weeks ago. And then finally kind of talking about the rules and regulations, especially with, all these changes. We have a lot of changes going on around the world. And really, it's very exciting to kind of go through it. And then we can do like a Q&A at the end if anyone has any other questions. So yeah, without further ado, welcome to the world of crypto. And really the backbone of crypto is really going to be blockchain, right? So it's a distributed ledger, and it's maintained on computers. We call them nodes as well. You can host your own node if you'd like. So that's how it's distributed. So it's no single entity. Again, it's not centralized at all. And for each record, for each new block, they're linked together, right? So that's why it's a blockchain. So every new transaction is on a block, and then they're all connected, right? So that makes it extremely difficult to try to gamify it or alter it in any way, because then it's not going to be connected to that particular chain. So again, it's like if you just thought of an Excel sheet, right? So everyone is able to view it. So on blockchain, that's one of the things where people think, it's no one knows what's going on with blockchain, but they do, right? Because everything is public. So again, it's like an Excel sheet that you're able to view, but no one can overwrite it once it's been finalized, right? So everything is out there. It's very transparent. It is, you can't hide your identity because all you see is a string of numbers and letters, but it is all on the blockchain. So again, it's decentralized. So no single entity, a government or individual can control the database. And then the network effectively on its own, it verifies and stores that data. And then when it comes to security, altering even one block means that all the blocks that follow it are altered as well. And the way that it's set up, it's extremely expensive and time consuming. So it's very resistant to any sort of attacks. And then again, transparency. Transactions are viewable by anyone on the network. You can go on Etherscan. There's free apps everywhere. And then the identities, you can have a pseudonym or what have you, but the transaction itself is there to stay. And then as far as real world applications that we're seeing now, because that was a big knock on crypto, where it was like, we have a solution looking for a problem, but now we're starting to see some technologies being developed where it is very beneficial, right? So one of them is supply chain. So tracking goods from one place to another, ensuring that it's authentic. Reducing fraud is one place that it's being used. For example, I know luxury brands such as Louis Vuitton, some of those other brands are actually using blockchain to track the authenticity of their products. And then in healthcare as well, right? So being able to share information securely, verifying patient records while maintaining privacy is huge. So we're trying to see companies in the healthcare space, crypto healthcare, really taking off. And then voting systems as well, right? So just being able to reduce fraud, having immutable records of vote is something that we're seeing developed as well. So go over to the next slide. So with that, we'll dive into Bitcoin. It was launched in 2009 by Satoshi Nakamoto. We'll talk about how it's mined, theories around the founder. There's a lot of little wacky theories out there, but they're out there. And then why it's digital gold. So we'll start off with the founding of it, the foundation. So Bitcoin was introduced 2008. There's a famous white paper, Bitcoin, the peer-to-peer electronic cash system that actually Apple Computer had on every single Mac since then. I think they discontinued doing that about a year and a half ago. So the creator or the group is Satoshi Nakamoto. And then the very first Bitcoin block, it was mined in January of 2009, right? So that was really the start of the Bitcoin era. And Satoshi's identity, or Satoshi, it still remains unknown to this day. Some people believe it's an individual. Others think it's a team or a group. But that really adds to the mystery of the Bitcoin ethos, if you will.
Alex, I have a question. When you say mind, what does that mean in terms of Bitcoin?
Sure. So when you mine a Bitcoin, what happens is you have to essentially you solve an equation. It's a problem, right? So now it takes so much power because the equations they get progressively more difficult to solve with each block. So you can hook up to the network, and then when the equation comes up, if you're the first to crack it or to solve it, then you get rewarded with some Bitcoin. Now
it.
it's got. Pardon me?
No, understood. Okay, thanks.
No, you got it, Pat. Yeah. So, it used to be where you used to be able to have your own rig at home. And that's where NVIDIA really took off, because with the graphic processors, they were powerful. They were typically used for like gaming systems, but they're powerful enough to be able to mine Bitcoin, Ethereum. But now it's gotten so difficult because it's so lucrative that, that you have these companies that just have, just warehouses full of these NVIDIA, graphic, interface, the cards, where it's very difficult to mine your own Bitcoin at the moment. But there are other cryptos that you can mine via solving equations like that. So the way that it's mined, it's called proof of work, right? So the miners, they run powerful computers to solve the puzzles, or they call them hashes, right? So the first miner to solve it gets a little block of the transactions, and that's how you get the Bitcoin. And then roughly every 4 years, the reward for mining a block is cut in half. So they're called, halving events. And this reduces the influx of new Bitcoins. And there once again, it reinforces the scarcity of the Bitcoin. So there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin ever created or mined in the world. And that's where it starts getting that, the name, like where people are like, oh, that's digital gold, because the supply is fixed, right? So right now, I believe they're at 19.5 million Bitcoin. So there's still, quite a few to be mined. But after that, it just stops. So that's how it's compared to, kind of like gold. And that's how investors see the store of value, knowing that there's, a finite amount, and there's only so many people in the world or what have you. And the other thing that kind of compares it to gold, that it's extremely portable, right? So you could just transfer Bitcoin. It's easier to transfer Bitcoin than it is to ship gold bars from one side of the world to another. So theoretically, right now, if I have Bitcoin in my wallet, I could send 2 Bitcoin across the world at a few clicks of a button, and that's it, right? And it is recorded on the ledger, but that's how easy it is to transfer it. So it's extremely liquid. And now it's gotten to the point because Bitcoin currently is at, I believe it's at over $100,000 each. So now what's happening is they're breaking it down into Satoshis, which is they're breaking each Bitcoin into like 100 million pieces each. So you could have, let's say, 10 Satoshis, for example. So that is why Bitcoin really is the originator here. I don't know if you've heard, but there's a country that adapted it as legal tender, and that was actually El Salvador. So they adopted Bitcoin as legal tender in their country, and they're doing pretty good on that. Any questions around the Bitcoin?
Yeah, I have a question. When Bitcoin was originated, was there a beginning price for it?
Yeah, so when it was first originated, I believe that it was actually free. So they couldn't even give away Bitcoin when it was first originated. And then it was a few cents. And over the years, it's kind of been a roller coaster, right? So after it originated, I think it kind of blew up to like $100. And people thought that, it just didn't make sense. And there was a lot of people that kind of cashed in at that time. There's some peaks and valleys with Bitcoin, and I still believe about 2 years ago it was at $16,000 a Bitcoin, and now it currently it's over $100,000 per Bitcoin.
Yeah, the smartest dummy in the world, Jim Cramer. He he really talks about Bitcoin in regards to volatility, and it's so big now it can skew the market the next day, and the volatility is incredible.
Yeah, it really is. So we're seeing some stabilization with that because now the big financial institutions are creating ETFs, and then they're also stockpiling Bitcoin. So that's where there's been a lot of speculation that it really is here to stay, and there is going to be worth it is going to be worth something. So that's why the price has really skyrocketed, because the big institutions kind of finally capitulated and are starting to buy massive quantities of Bitcoin.
Right. Thanks.
Yes, and I agree with Cramer. There's actually a Twitter account. It's called Inverse Cramer. So anything that Cramer says, you're supposed to do the opposite.
Alex, it was kind of interesting that you said they're thinking of breaking Bitcoin down into basically cents. I was just wondering, like currently, if you were to use Bitcoin to pay for, like, I don't know, a $50 dinner, how do you get change? Or are people just not doing that kind of thing?
Yeah, so it's become very difficult. I know MasterCard has been doing something with Bitcoin. So the idea is there. It's just that Bitcoin really wasn't built for, so originally the theory was that it was going to be built for all these transactions, and that's what made it, gain traction. But it was still, a great idea, except that now it's really being seen as a store of value instead of, using it for the transactions. But there are some very there's some people, there's some groups that are trying to create the rails, or the systems, if you will, to be able to do that. You currently can do it. It's just very cumbersome because as you'll see here with Ethereum is just so much easier to use for transactions that that Bitcoin, when you're doing transactions like that, it does become a little messy. And what happens is your wallets, we call it dust. So when you do the transactions with the Satoshi, all of a sudden you have a wallet that has 3 cents. The other transaction you have 13 cents, and it's really hard to kind of put it all together. So that's why it's still good in theory, but it's still not there. It's not fully baked yet.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep, and then Ethereum, it's a programmable blockchain. A lot of people, they compare it to a global supercomputer. That's where really I got my feet wet, if you will, with the smart contracts, and DeFi, which is decentralized finance, really took off. Most of the most popular NFTs are on the Ethereum blockchain, and then a lot of the applications are on there as well. So that Ethereum was proposed by Vitalik. It was launched in 2015. Whereas Bitcoin was focused on being a digital currency, ETH was really allowing developers to develop applications right on the blockchain, right? So that's what made it real valuable. So a smart contract is just a self-executing agreement, and the terms are directly coded on the blockchain, right? So there's predefined conditions that are met, and the contract executes automatically. So that's why they call it trustless. So if you're gonna go through a transaction with someone else, you really don't need to know who that is on the other side, because as long as the contract is legit, then you can just go through the transaction, and that's why it's called trustless. And then so there are no intermediaries, right? So it just kind of paves the way for everything just being automated, as far as insurance, decentralized banking, and so much more. And they call it turning complete because ETH, they call it that global supercomputer, because theoretically it can run any computation program as long as it has enough computational power assigned to it. One of the downsides of Ethereum are the gas fees. So when you complete a transaction, there's going to be a gas fee, which is kind of like a tax, right, to execute the operations. So during the downtimes, slower times, the gas isn't that high, but it can go astronomically high. It can go real high. I mean, I've had transactions that gas fees for one transaction was over $1,000 easy. And then as far as with ETH, that's where the NFTs really come in. Decentralized finance. There's a bunch of very popular platforms. Aave, Uniswap, which does billions of dollars in transactions, Compound, and they let you borrow. You can lend, and you can trade. You can do all of that. So again, you can lend money, you can borrow, you can trade, and it's all done without any centralized banking system whatsoever. And then as far as the NFTs, they're non-fungible tokens. I know that, they've been kind of out there gaining popularity, and a lot of people use them. It's like a unique ownership of digital assets, such as, videos, NFTs, things like that. I can go ahead and let me see if I can pull this up here. 1 second. So I have a few examples, and I actually have them here on OpenSea. So OpenSea is the largest marketplace for NFTs. And 1 second, let me go ahead and share my screen here. All right. Okay. And now you should be able to see some little penguins on the screen.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Yep. So this is OpenSea. Again, it's the largest marketplace for NFTs where, they're traded every hour of the day. So this is Pudgy Penguins.
Alex, I think we had a quick question before we jump into the NFTs.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, Brian, if you want to come off mute.
Yeah, sure. I guess going back to the idea of smart contracts, what exactly is this just like regular old contracts? Like I'm gonna, modernize your application and we're gonna set prices for the contractors we have and we come to an agreement and we sign something, or am I being too literal in the sense of what a smart contract is?
Yep. With that, I'm here on Open Zeppelin. Should be able to see it here on the screen. So yeah, so a smart contract is so let me just let me see how I could explain it here. So let's say that you have a smart contract, and with this smart contract, you are going to borrow money to someone else, and then you're going to receive a percentage on the money that you borrowed, and then it's going to the length of that agreement is going to go for 2 years. So now, as long as it's all coded in the contract, that's exactly what's going to happen. So everything is just automated. And then at the end of the 2 years, you're going to be receiving your interest, for example. At the end of the 2 years, it just stops. No one else needs to go in there, do anything manually. And that's just an example of a smart contract. But it really is just an agreement. And it really can be, like you said, it can be that literal. It can be anything that you like. And you can just put it in the code. And that's how it's executed. Now, there are risks, right? Like with everything else, if someone wants to do something shady and put something in the contract that you're not able to catch, and they can kind of commit fraud that way. So there's been tons of cases like that. They call them rug pulls in the crypto world, where the smart contract had something written in there that no one noticed, and then something went awry. So there are a lot of companies out there, like Consensus is one of the big ones that actually their job is just verifying smart contracts, looking for any vulnerabilities. But that's pretty much what it is. And then as far as Open Zeppelin, they have a ton of templates in here that are used in the crypto world. So Solidity, that's the language for Ethereum. So you can take one of these smart contracts, for example. If you want to create your own NFT collection, you would put it in here. And in the NFT contract, for example, you would say, hey, for every ETH that you give me, I will give you one Pudgy Penguin, for example. And the contract just executes itself. No one needs to be present or anything. And that's how the smart contracts are used. I don't know if that answers your question there.
Okay, yeah. So everything has to be programmable. I can't just, in the old sense, just say, I'm going to do this for you and you're going to give me this. And like, if it can't be written in code, then really can't use a smart contract.
Actually, that there is a movement of people using blockchains to create contracts. So if you think of a contract, if you think of like a title or a deed, that's a really good use case for blockchain.
Okay.
Maybe not for cryptocurrency, but for blockchain.
Yep, correct. So real estate, there have been transactions that have been done on chain, and yeah, I think that this is something where it really. So let's say, for example, you want to buy a piece of property in Russia, sight unseen, right? So theoretically, with a smart contract, if everything checks out on the contract, you would be able to execute that agreement, and you would be protected, because if the contract with the smart contract was written correctly, then everything would be valid. Um, so again, Open Zeppelin here is the largest community, and you can kind of do a deep dive there and really just very quickly create smart contracts. You can start with some basic ones, and there are some that are really involved, that are just moving the blockchain idea of a smart contract forward.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. And again, as far as the NFTs, give me 1 second. So go back to the little pudgies. I'm fond of the pudgies. Have a few of these little pudgy penguins, but yeah. So the way you would look at it is, okay, so you go to OpenSea, there are pudgy penguins here. There's 8,888 of them, right? So they were created in 2001. And they all, so there's a collection of them, but they all have different features, scarcity, and that's how they're valued in the market. So as you see here, they have different backgrounds, tells you the amount that has, the different type of background. Obviously, these one of ones would be more valuable just because they're scarce. So you have all these different features on them, and this is a marketplace where you can trade them, or you can purchase them outright. So when it comes to these smart contracts, typically with NFTs, it is already written in the smart contract that the original creator of the NFT receives a royalty, 1 to 2% in perpetuity, right? So that's another example of having that smart contract where you create that art and then you're still getting paid for it, as opposed to typically, right, in a regular market. Let's say that you're selling art. Once you sell your piece of art, theoretically, you're not going to get paid off of it anymore because you already sold it. Whereas here with where it's written in the smart contract, you would still be getting paid on it, right? So let's see. I'm diving into Pudgy Penguin 6169, right? Has the eye patch there, tells you the different traits and how scarce it is, right? Also tells you the floor. The floor means the lowest priced on the market. And then you can see, because it's all on chain, you can see when it was bought, when it was sold, when it was transferred, who you transferred it to, right? So that's all available here. And then going back to the transparency part of it, so this person bought it, and then the transaction is actually on here as well. And here we go to Etherscan. So again, everything is public. You can see when it was done, right? The amount it was sold for or purchased, and everything that took place on that transaction. So this is Etherscan. This is one of the services where you can see everything that happened on any transaction. So here you see, so this is a current price. This is a floor, 10.15 ETH, which is currently priced at 27,000 USD for the right to own this little pudgy penguin here.
And how many do you have?
I have 9. I still have 9 of them. Yeah. I looked up, but I got
sold
it.
2.
I did. Adam, you have you remember everything. Yeah, so sold 2. Still have 9 of them. But I bought them when they first came out. I was real high on the pudgy penguins, and I was my dollar cost average was, I got them around $1,000 because the price was kind of going up and down. And they really took off when the New York Times wrote an article on these, kind of like when NFTs were coming to the forefront and becoming very popular. So you can see the activity here, right? So you have all the analytics. You can see offers that have been made. So you can see everything again because it's all transparent. And then you can see the activity for the Pudgy Penguins since the beginning to now. So let's say transactions. So these are, let's see, what is this? Sold transactions. These are all sales. 35 minutes ago, someone bought this one. 49 minutes ago, 53. You see this 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago. So they're very, very liquid. If you want to put them up there at like at the floor, they're going to sell, right? So this is just one example of, and you just see this, all these transactions that happen. There's probably like at least 100 moving every 24 hours. And the prices do fluctuate. They vary again with scarcity. A lot of people collect them, but they are right now, believe it or not, at this price at 26,000, 27,000, they are on the low end. They kind of peaked out recently at around 90,000, I believe, not too long ago. But that's how that market works. Let me see if I can pull up another one. Another huge NFT.
Alex, while you're doing that, Pat had a question if this was an opportunity for artists to combat contract infringement or pirating of creative work.
Oh, definitely. Yes, because you can put it on chain, and then it is verifiable. So now, let's just say you go to a museum, you look at a beautiful, piece of art. My wife and daughter took me to the Art Institute for my birthday, and you're looking at all these wonderful pieces. But in theory, right, they're saying that that's a Picasso. How do you know it's a Picasso, right? So you have to have a lot of third parties kind of verify that it is a Picasso. But it might not be, right? Even if the chance of it is like a 0.0001, with the blockchain, it does remove all doubt. So as far as copyright infringement, that is one of the big use cases currently that is taken, that people are using it for. So there has been controversy because right now with the AI art, I know you were talking about it previously, Adam, is a lot of these AI models are trained on people's art, right? So that's how they gather information. So now, artists are kind of fighting back and saying, hey, you know what? It's not fair that, this AI model, if you will, it went and kind of scraped all of our art and now it's creating art, but it's based off of our work and we're not being compensated for it because Sotheby's is trying to come out with the next exhibition of AI art, and there's a lot of controversy. It's been in the news lately where artists are fighting back because of that. Here's another one I'd like to share. So these are the autoglyphs. There's only 500 of them ever created. This is the floor, so this is the least expensive one, and the these are the first on-chain generative art on Ethereum. So that's what makes them, a big deal. So you can see this piece of art. This is $281,000, and you could just click here, buy it now if you'd like, or you can make an offer. You'll see offers for it. So these are current offers. Again, on the smart contract, you throw an offer out there, you better be serious because if this person accepts any of these offers, it's a legal binding contract. So this person, the highest offer right now is $187,000, but it's still way below what they're asking, which is $281,000. All right, and then there is. One second.
Quick comment, if you don't mind. Reddit whoever's familiar with Reddit, there, for your username, uh, you can go ahead and buy a character, and they put out like 200 of these characters that you use, and there's NFTs everywhere from politicians and everything, and do you think it is a risky investment?
I would say that it is a risky investment, right? So um, you really have to know what you're doing when you're jumping into this. Really study it, take a deep dive, because there, if there's so many scams or people taking advantage of people, that if you really don't know the market, it is easy to get duped or swindled. And like you said, politicians are dropping coins. Seems like everyone nowadays. I know Dave Portnoy just dropped the coin as well. So it is pretty risky. But there are ways to learn the market and really get a good understanding of the market, so that you can avoid these as much as possible, avoid the pitfalls.
O'Connor, did you happen to buy the Melania? You did, didn't you?
But I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Did you buy the Melania?
No, no. I did during the pandemic. They were giving them out there for free, and mine is worth like $80 now. And
Seriously?
yeah, I don't get it. But I do know that there are real success stories.
No, there are real success stories. It's just a lot of people. It's just really having the information. So where people really share the most information are going to be in forums, Discord. But CT, which is known as Crypto Twitter on X, is really where a lot of that information can be gathered. You can start following people that are legitimate, knowing that there is a ton of downside, but you can make a more educated guess if you are kind of following the news and following some people that do have some good information on where the market is going.
Okay, thank you.
No, you got it. Yep. And then the meme coin culture, right? So go ahead and get this up here now.
Alex, I have a question. This is Pat.
Hey, Pat.
Can you explain what is the value of these NFTs or that artwork that you presented previously on the previous screen? Is it only because there is a market developed within this structure? Because I don't see inherent value in this.
Correct, right? So I think that the value comes from it's in the eye of the beholder, but there is a market that is kind of validating some of these prices. Again, not all, but some of these here, and that's why people feel the sentiment is that they will hold value. So just think of artwork, right? So I can create a piece of art now and probably won't even get $10 for it, $1 for it, right? But if you look at the market, if you look at, let's say, historical pieces of art, they tend to hold their value more than newer pieces, right? So if there's a piece of art from the 1800s and it's worth, let's say, $10,000, there's the market is pretty much established, so it's going to hold some of that value. It might go up or down if it goes out of style, what have you, but it's going to kind of hold the value. So with the NFTs, the alpha I can provide here is a lot of times you would want to study the market and look at historical NFTs. So let's say the first, like I just showed you, the first generative art or the first NFTs that ever came out, and those are validated. So the first NFTs were coming out around 2017 or what have you. So when you look at the market that way, if you buy some of that, some of those NFTs, and then you can see years of data, and then you can make a more educated guess instead of just buying the newer, hottest thing on the market, which can either skyrocket, it can moon, or it can just go to nothing. So that's the advice I would give: is look at the NFTs that have long history, multiple years, and then you can make a better sense of, you know what, I have an idea, that this is worth this much, and it would be, for example, a good investment. But I'm not giving any financial advice, but that's how I view the market. I don't know if that kind of makes sense, but that's how I view it.
So essentially, over time, there is a information like a stock that's been in place for decades versus months. You have a developed demand.
Yes, 100% correct.
Okay.
And all that information is freely available, again, because it's on the blockchain, so you can't really hide anything. So it's going to be out there. So I believe a few years ago, I was part of a group. We had a DAO, so it's like a decentralized organization where we all kind of pulled our money together, and we try to buy a piece of art, or if you will. But the other side could see how much we were bidding, so they were able to ultimately to outbid us. So yeah, all that information will be available. You'll be able to see historical information for anything that is crypto related, which is where the NFTs come into play, and then you can make a more informed decision. But again, it is still speculative, and that's why I do suggest kind of deep diving into projects, going into the Discords. So Discord is huge in the crypto world. Slack channels, and then really following some people that are well versed in the NFT world. So you can look at their collections. You can find out what kind of what wallet it is, what they hold in their wallets, and then you can start getting a good idea of where the market is going. So, I mean, it does take a lot of homework. There are tools out there that you can use to kind of speed up the process, but it's totally doable if you wanted to kind of do a deep dive and dip your toe into the world of NFTs.
I always do say though, Pat, when it comes to NFTs and crypto, it is like the wild, wild west. So information is everything, and whoever's got the fastest gun is typically going to be the one who comes out on top. So it's incredibly volatile. You'll see that, but we've seen growth over the last few years. So it's who can hang on the longest before the demand decreases.
Alex?
Alrighty. Yep. So again, a lot of hype around the meme coins. It really is community-driven hype. A lot of it takes place on X, on crypto Twitter, and some of the tools are Pump Fun, where anyone can literally go on there, and a few clicks, you can create your own coin. you stated earlier, Pat, where, and you can see where it goes, right? So if you, typically what it is, it's a good narrative behind, a movement or a coin, and then they can take a, life of their own. For example, Doge or Sheep, there's these different coins that really have taken off. So Dex Screener is one of the main places to go. So it's live. It'll show you all the details that you need to do to try to make as an informed decision as possible. So some people go in there for the short term. Previously, you would have a longer set of time. You would have weeks, months, maybe even years, kind of build up and see if one of these little coins would take off. But now with the new tools, sometimes it could be a matter of hours where they start off at nothing, they moon, and then they go back down and they crash. So go see if I can pull it up here. And let me show you it live. All right. So this is Dex Screener. So here it shows you the different chains that they're on: Ethereum, Solana, BSC, Base, which is newer. So you have all the different chains, right? So right now, Solana is pretty popular. If you like the Melania coin, the Trump coin, it dropped on Solana, and then you can on your own, filter it down, whatever settings you want to do here. But it is like a casino. It really is, right? So don't ever do anything on here with any money or anything that you wouldn't, you can't lose, right? So so then you can just kind of sort it. So let's say here it's sorted by volume. And for example, so here you got broccoli, this new thing. I sorted here just by volume, $21 million. Let's see, there's a liquidity, 414 million. The market cap for the Trump coin is 3-point-something billion. You can look at all these different coins that people have, and you can actually execute transactions right on here. So that's one of the meme coin things that people go on, just to really have fun with it. And then you also have Pump Fun, which is, let me just go back to my, okay. So then this is Pump Fun. I'm not going to pull up the website, but yeah, just pump.fun. And then if you see here how it works, just literally you name it, whatever you want to do. You put a ticker on it, description. You can put anything else you want, and just hit a button. And now you just created your own coin. And then if it takes off, let's say that, there's a good narrative, and all of a sudden, there's people talking about it. And then it takes off. But that's really how easy it's become to make a meme coin. Alrighty. Yeah, and then we talked about the Pudgies, Autoglyphs. Beeple's a huge artist. You have Xcopy as well. As far as Xcopy, he makes really like glitchy art. So this is pretty much like a GIF, right? So it just moves. And he's he's pretty popular. He's from what we know about him is from London. He's anonymous, so no one knows. They know that he's a male from London. That's pretty much it. Had a ton of pieces out there. Some pieces have sold for millions of dollars, and he's a real coveted artist, if you will, is him. We also have some Bitcoin artists that are very political, and they also put out art to raise funds for different causes. They're out there making things happen through art. As far as the regulations, so Gary Gensler, head of the SEC, he's out. So he was, he was trying to protect the consumer. because there was a lot of rug pulls, a lot of the scams going on. There was, this wild west, which is still like that. Like as David stated, it's still, lots of ups and downs, a lot of shady characters in that space. So the SEC had very strict rules. You weren't able to create your own coin if you were an American citizen. And as we saw, there's a Melania coin. So now people are kind of like, okay, now everything's kind of murky. But I would suggest, to really follow the rules and regulations. You don't want to get in any sort of trouble with that. So there's still more to come. A lot of the crypto activity, it actually takes place in Singapore, just because they are kind of like pro crypto. But it looks like here now moving forward, it may become a little bit more pro crypto. And the way that we try to stay on top of all the rules and regulations are Coinbase. So Coinbase is the largest crypto. It's on it's on the stock market, and it is an exchange where you can go there, you can buy coins, and everything is pretty much regulated. Again, they're on the stock market as well, and they have the latest news on what's happening in the crypto world. So Coinbase is a trusted source, and that's really where we kind of look towards whenever there are changes in the market as far as Bitcoin. So the government really hasn't provided too much guidance on crypto. So they say that they will here in the near future, but so far there really hasn't been anything where they've kind of clarified what the new rules are in the crypto world.
Question. I don't have the knowledge or power of the chairman of the Security and Exchange Commission, but I don't understand how companies like E-Trade and PayPal, they're picking up commission from selling crypto. And when I go to a gas station and I see a machine, the commissions are absolutely outrageous. And I don't, it seems like it's getting so out of control that even the SEC won't be able to control it. And I just want to know what you think.
Sure. So I would, if you ever were going to buy, for example, crypto, let's say ETH or Bitcoin, right? So those are the two most established ones. You would never want to buy it from any other source, especially like in a store, from a vending machine or anything like that. It would have to be from somewhere that would be trusted, like Coinbase. And that way you can avoid those fees, because they really are gouging people. Because people are looking at the news, they're hearing it everywhere. Hey, there's Bitcoin and there's crypto going on. So I have seen that as well, where they are taking advantage, and they are also selling it at a very high premium. So not only are they taking advantage of people through the fees, they're also selling you Bitcoin. Let's say that Bitcoin is at 100,000, they're selling it to you at 110,000 for whatever amount of Bitcoin that you do purchase. So the way the safest way to do it would be going through an exchange like Coinbase. There are a ton of exchanges, but they're for maybe people that are more advanced or that really know the system and have like wallets already set up, where they are able to navigate without and because it is tricky. One click. So let's say, for example, you put in the wrong address and you're trying to send some crypto to a friend, but you were a number off and now it's lost forever, right? You can't go back and say, hey, can you reverse this transaction? It doesn't work that way in crypto. So that's why I really would recommend something like Coinbase in order to buy any sort of crypto. But yeah, you're right. The SEC has a big job on its hands to try to get a hold of this, because everything being anonymous and worldwide is pretty going to be pretty tough for them. So it's crypto's like a tool. I look at it like a tool. So you can use it for good or for bad, right? So it's good that you're able to kind of move things around without having to ask for permission. But that's where you get some of these downsides where you think about terrorism or crime or stuff like that that could take place on it, because people do use that anonymity to do things of that nature as well. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how everyone how the SEC tells everyone to navigate the crypto world.
Yeah, I mean, look what happened to Lurie Children's Hospital. I mean, or I don't know if it was Lurie or Northwestern, or if they were part of Northwestern. I don't remember.
It was Lurie, which is part of Northwestern.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you. You know, they made $5 million in crypto, and they were holding little kids hostage. I mean, it can really, really get out of hand.
No, it definitely can, William. So in crypto, what where people hold their the crypto is in a wallet, right? So it doesn't really hold your crypto there. You're just able to control and manage it because it's still on chain, right? Everything is on the blockchain. So there's a hardware wallet. It's a cold wallet where it's a physical device. It looks like a large USB. Plug it into your computer, and then you download everything there. So now you can't get hacked, right? It's in this cold storage. So Ledger is one of the biggest companies that makes these. About 2 weeks ago, they actually kidnapped the founder, cut a finger off, and then they caught him. I think it was 7 or 8 culprits that kidnapped him, and then they let him go. He was alive. He's still alive. But yeah, that's one of the risks in crypto, because I mean, the information's out there. So let's say, for example, right now, if you have money in your 401k or in the bank, there are not too many people privy to that information, right? I mean, they're the bank tellers, stuff like. But for the most part, that's your private information. But now with blockchain, it's really out there. So you really have to protect your wallets, because there are tools out there to try to uncover transactions and who owns what, and that's where it can become dangerous, because it is out there, and people are learning how to kind of figure out the ins and outs of how these wallets work.
Thank you very much. You gave me a lot of information. I'll shut up now.
No, appreciate you. Thank you so much. I like it, kind of being interactive like that. As far as some of the tools that are used for people that are trying to gain alpha, if you will, we call it alpha in the crypto world, is something like Dune. So these people, a lot of them are programmers already. They're in the data space. So Dune Analytics is one of those places where you kind of come in here, and then you're able to gain access to that data. And they even have a certification where you can become a Dune wizard, if you will. So that way you can kind of do a deep dive into it, and it's one of the main tools that a lot of people use in crypto to really kind of uncover some of the trends. And this goes for NFTs, coins. So you can do that through Dune Analytics. It's just one of the more popular ones for the crypto, and they offer a variety of products. Where, for example, let's say you want to go on OpenSea and look at all the collections, how they're trending, everything else. So you would use something like Dune Analytics. And yeah, they were founded in 2018. They're growing by leaps and bounds, and it's one of the main places where folks such as yourselves, in this world, IT world, where you can use some of these tools that they use that they provide. Yep, and with that, are there any other questions? Any feedback? Anything else? You want to kind of cover here? Whatever you need, you let me know.
Alex, I'd say this is very informative. Thank you for sharing all of this information. Even I feel like I had a really good understanding prior to this call. So leaving the call, I feel like I've learned a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, very
Appreciate
informative.
Definitely. No, thank you so much. There is a lot that we kind of went over, but I would say crypto, everyone's talking about AI. And then there is one other thing, a little tidbit is as far as Bitcoin, there are some concerns currently with quantum computing. So they're trying to gather, some teams to kind of quantum proof it, because they believe that, with quantum computing, that it will be able to, uncover some of the passwords or codes, if you will. So that is a big concern, because they know that that's on the horizon. So that's another thing, right? So it's always exciting in the crypto world. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. It's more than just more than just Bitcoin.
Yeah, couldn't that also allow people to mine faster than pretty much anybody else if you had a quantum computer? I mean, I don't know if that's really commercially viable at the moment, but
Yeah, that's one of the threats. And then I also read that it can possibly duplicate the chain and commit fraud that way as well. But like you said, yeah, I mean, they just be able to mine everything faster than anyone else. It's one of those things. It's kind of like the deep seek of Bitcoin right now. It's a big it's the boogie monster.
interesting you said. How could you duplicate? I thought that like a blockchain would be unduplicatable.
Yeah, so people try to duplicate it all the time, but they're unable to, because they don't have the computing power or the resources. But again, just from what I've read with some theories, is that someone could replicate the entire chain now with quantum computing, and possibly trick that some users into thinking that that's the actual chain, and then people start building off of the dupe.
Oh, wow.
The way this originally got started was with something called factoring primes, which is where you get this big honking number, and you try to find out which prime numbers multiply together to make that big number. And it would take a typical computer, let's say 100,000 years to factor this big prime. Well, what happens when a quantum computer comes around, and then maybe instead of 100,000 years, it can factor all those primes in 2 weeks? That's where the scariness of quantum computing comes in, and not a lot of people are really talking about it. Like, that'll make it go away.
And the harm that it can cause, the energy needed
Right.
to power things like that, it's incredible.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then I've heard, the smart contract, people have looked at it, every which way. But what happens if it doesn't stop at 21 million? That was one of the things that used to happen with these rug pulls and the Ethereum world, where they say, hey, there's going to be this fixed amount. There's only going to be 1 million of these coins. And it would, the price would start going up. and then you'd see it, and it went to 1,000,001, and then it was like non-stop. It never stopped. So I don't know if that's
It's not regulated. There's no one to stop them.
Yeah.
I guess to that point about the quantum computers, how I know you mentioned proof of work is how like Bitcoin originally started off, and right, that's how
Yes.
you. And I've also heard the concept of proof of stake.
Stake. Yeah.
How is that different, and is that like reasonable? Is that coming around?
Yeah. So, the proof of work, that's the original, right? So that was used by Bitcoin, and then what Ethereum did was proof of stake. So let me see how to explain that. Let's see if I have it here. So
Supposedly, yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Brian.
I hear it supposedly uses less energy. It's supposed to be a better method for.
Yeah. So that's what it is, right? So that's a big concern with Bitcoin, right? So you hear like over in China, they build these mining centers next to a dam, and they compare it like, hey, 1 day's worth, it could power an entire city for a year. So with the proof of stake, it did change the parameters so that instead of the way that I kind of understood it was, instead of each individual transaction on the block, they're just like verifying the entire block, something like that. So it would use less power, less energy. But yeah, it was just introduced a few years ago. So yeah, that is a huge concern, like with the environment, and that's been a big knock on crypto, because of the mining and the energy that it does take to mine these currencies, these cryptocurrencies.
Excellent. We got about 5 minutes left. Anybody else have any other questions, thoughts?
This is the best explanation of crypto I've ever heard. So thank you.
Agree.
No, appreciate it. Yeah, so I think that's what's stopping the adoption, is that it's still so hard to get into crypto, right? So a lot of people, their first experience really is either through the app Robinhood, or through Coinbase, right? So that is where kind of people are like, okay, I'll buy some Bitcoin, Ethereum, and they don't even create their own wallet, right? So it's on Coinbase. There is a saying, not your keys, not your crypto. So then the second kind of stage people get into it is when they create their own wallet. Most popular one, like the one that I use and like crypto people use for the most part, there's a ton. But the most popular one, it would be a MetaMask. And it gives you like your 12 seed phrases. You hide those, you don't tell anyone about it. And now with that MetaMask, you can veer into the world of crypto. You can go and go to OpenSea and connect your wallet. You can go to Uniswap, which is like an underground Coinbase, and you can trade NFTs and coins and stuff like that. But now you don't have Coinbase to kind of back you up. You're kind of out there on your own when you're doing these transactions, and then buying coins that way and buying NFTs that way. So that's kind of like the next step. So there are a lot of people working on it, especially like Coinbase, to just try to make it easier for people to come in the industry, because it is still very risky, and that's been the problem. But that's why there's so much upside still in crypto as well, because it's so hard to figure out that a lot of people don't go beyond certain steps. But if you do, and you really take the time to kind of figure it out, you get a good idea of how it works, and then you can kind of work with crypto and perform transactions on the chain, on chain.
Very cool.
Thank you so much, Alex. This
Yeah,
is
thank you,
phenomenal.
Alex. And thanks
No, appreciate it
everybody
so
for
much.
coming. All right, I think we're gonna wrap it there. Alex, if anybody, do you mind if I put this recording up on our YouTube channel?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right,
Appreciate it. Thank
cool.
you so much,
Appreciate you
everyone.
doing that.
Yeah,
Brandon.
no problem. So you can review it later, and I will send an email out to everybody that's attended or registered with that link, and feel free to join us in the future for other meetings like this.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks,
All right.
Alex.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Good to
you.
see you all.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, Bill.